Well, I'm delighted to see such a large crowd turn out here to support the Ballymurphy families. 47 years, the Ballymurphy families have been fighting for justice. Today, this community is out to show them their solidarity and support to them. This is a big year for them. Their inquest starts in September next month. And I suppose with this parade today and this march today is the call on justice to be given to the families. They have fought tirelessly for that length of time. There was a wrong done back 47 years ago. The families are not going to go away, so justice needs to be granted for these families to give them some form of closure. But it's very important that to see such a large crowd today to show solidarity with them.
This is 47 years for the families today, the anniversaries when our loved ones were murdered over a period of 3 days in Ballymurphy. It's just so sad that the families have to come out on the street like this year after year to get some truth and justice when the British government sat over in England dictating and Theresa May and Arlene Foster refusing to release money to allow us to get a proper inquest. The MOD sitting in their offices refusing to give us the information that we need about these soldiers, even their very names. Just doesn't seem fair. And we have so many families here. There's McGurk's, there's Kelly's Bar, there's Loughlin Island. There's so many groups here. There's also so many people on their own who don't have a group to support them, but we want to let them know that we're here to support anybody and everybody that needs justice and truth, because that's what our families are all about, and we will get it. It may take 47 years, we're still fighting, but we'll not stop until we get the truth.
I want to start today by thanking the Ballymurphy families for the invitation to address you here at the 47th anniversary of the Ballymurphy massacre. 47 years on, I salute the efforts, the dedication and the resolve of the families and the Ballymurphy community to establish the truth about how and why your loved ones were killed on these very streets by the British Army. Those killed were not anonymous. They were mummies, daddies, brothers, sisters and friends. And they are much missed members of this proud community. And that's why we're here this afternoon. And let me say that we in Sinn Féin will stand with you in your campaign for truth. Recently I came across a documentary made on the Ballymurphy massacre. Family members, many of you who are here today, spoke about the events over those 3 days. What you were doing at the time, how you found out about your loss, and the days and weeks and years since, and how it has impacted your lives. For someone like me who has never suffered that loss, in listening to those personal accounts you couldn't help but feel the pain, the loss and the utter devastation felt by all of those families. And it's only when you hear the personal accounts that you fully realise the human consequences for families and the generations who have come after them of those terrible days. It highlighted to me again the importance of families telling the story of what happened to them. It is essential that the voices of the Ballymurphy families are heard. It is these voices and their stories of loss that the British state refused to hear, and that is why the families for decades have been denied access to an inquest. I understand that families can only move on if they have the truth surrounding the death of their loved one. It is a basic human right. The legacy mechanisms agreed at Stormont House are currently out for consultation. They provide a range of options for families, and I would appeal to everyone to engage with the consultation. It will be an opportunity to try to shape the legacy mechanisms and to do so based on your life experiences. Every story must be told right across the board. Talking about and recounting experiences is an important element of how we deal with the past. And it's for this reason that we take offence when we hear the British Prime Minister or military personnel talk about vexatious claims aimed at discrediting British Army personnel and about their pride in their armed forces, or worse still, the statute of limitation. These words are offensive, insulting, demeaning to the memory of the deceased as much as they are designed to conceal the brutal efforts of the British Army here on the streets of Ballymurphy. In the conflict from 1969 to 1974, the British Army was responsible for nearly 170 killings. Many of these were multiple killings, as we saw in Derry, the New Lodge, Spring Hill and here in Ballymurphy. They killed civilians then sought to cover up through a concerted policy of disinformation, lies and falsehoods. This was integral to Britain's war policy. It was state-sponsored murder that goes to the heart of the British establishment. And this is how and why British soldiers acted outside the law with total impunity, and explains the British resistance to the truth. But the truth will be told. We owe that to all of your loved ones. The current campaign around the statute of limitations for British state forces is yet again adding to the distress of families. These soldiers must face due process of the law, and if they have done nothing wrong, they have nothing to fear. In fact, if they have nothing to hide, why don't they cooperate fully with any investigation to clear their names? Why don't the MOD cooperate with families and the Coroner's Office to locate the powers that were involved in the massacre here in Ballymurphy? This brutal policy of execution, cover-up and lies carried on over many years, and this year marks the 30th anniversary of the killing of Aidan McAnespie by the British Army on his way to watch a GAA match. In Aidan's case, the Irish Government have after 30 years still not published the Crowley report, and in failing to do so are withholding information about the circumstances of Aidan's killing. So they too must step up to their responsibilities in providing information to families and in supporting the Ballymurphy families and indeed all families. In his own words, the Taoiseach Simon Coveney said, "The citizens of the North will never again be left behind." Well, Minister, let's begin with the families of those Irish citizens who were killed in Ireland by the British State Forces. Dealing with the past must mean access to inquests for families, full disclosure of documents from all state institutions and adequate resourcing. It also means acknowledgement, accountability and truth for families, all families. It means treating all families with equality, dignity and respect. Unless the legacy proposals are delivered as intended, they will have no value. Equally, they must be adequately resourced so they can be effective and deliver. Of course, there is huge resistance to the implementation of these legacy proposals and dealing with legacy more generally. It has been 5 months since the Hughes judgment, yet we have a British Secretary of State who is simply ignoring the High Court ruling and delaying further the family's access to the basic right of an inquest. So today I would again call on the British Government to meet its obligations in relation to releasing funding for the Lord Chief Justice's 5-year plan to deal with the legacy inquests. There is no reasonable explanation why this has not already been done. But the context is changing. It is changing because families are refusing to be silenced. They are battling week in and week out in the courts. and that we are gathered here today is testimony that the memories of our loved ones lives on, and that despite the might of the British state, that the proud community of Ballymurphy was not, has not and will not be silenced. I want to finish by commending the dedication, courage and leadership of the Ballymurphy families. Your efforts and those of your legal teams in speaking truth to power gives hope to so many families as they too continue their search for truth. I want to thank all the other campaign groups and their many supporters who have come out today and who came out in their thousands in February to the Time for Truth March. I also want to express my appreciation to all those who have turned up to show solidarity with families and to protest at the courts. There will be more protests, but fortunately we have plenty of people who understand the need to support all of our families in their fight for truth and justice. Finally, I wish to extend my deepest sympathy and ongoing support on behalf of Sinn Féin to those who continue to struggle for the truth, for Father Hugh Mullen, Frank Quinn, Noel Phillips, Jean Connolly, Danny Taggart, Joseph Murphy, Eddie Doherty, John Laverty, Joseph Corr, Pat McCarthy and John McCare, killed by the Parachute Regiment between the 9th and the 11th of August 1971. And I wish you well with the upcoming inquest, and again offer any and all support we can give to you and to all other families who fight on in memory of their loved ones. Gormila Mailda.
Sinn Féin, go on in Carta agus Aontas na HÉireann, Equality, Rights and Irish Unity.